What is up, y'all? Welcome back out to the bench in the backyard. My name is Jordan, and I am standing in a forest of Shimpaku junipers. Juniperus chinensis Shimpaku. Um, these two are Itoyagawas. These two right here, little Itoyagawa whips. These are not going to be a forest. These are my entry for the uh, BonsaiNut Shimpaku six-year Shimpaku juniper contest. But they're all pencil size. Right there. So at least the two Itoyagawas are. We'll go through, look at all of these. This one I already repotted in the last video. I did a top-down repot, so I took the top half of the soil out. The bottom half, I didn't even touch the roots at all. Right there, out of pencil, slightly over. They might disqualify that one. I don't know. That one's definitely too thick. Won't be doing that one. That one's slightly over too. So it might just be, oh. Might be a little thick. I don't know. That one. Too thick. All right, so I've got four of the non-varietals and my two Itoyagawas. So this is what we're starting with. Like I said, I've got one of them that's top down. We're going to do the same with one other of these. So we'll go with that one. Then the other two, one of them I'm going to do a one-sided repot, and the other one we'll just do a standard repot where we work on the outside, reduce the root ball as we're going, and we'll see which version does a little bit better. So let me get some of these out of the way so that I can start. I'll just show the. I'll do one of each here. So we'll pop this out. This one's already got a really nice nabari, nice and radial. So I think this one we're going to do another top down on because it is so nice. This one has a one-sided nabari, so we're going to come in, excavate this other side. We'll mount it up a little bit higher and see if we can't get this to throw out some roots over here on this side. Which leaves me with, actually this one only has one root, so this is going to be the one-sided repot. That other one that's got roots everywhere except for one little spot, We'll figure it out when we get to it. But this one's really, really nice. So this is definitely going to be a top-down repot. Once I get into the other two, they might actually turn into top-downs as well. But all we're going to do is come over here. There we go. You can see a little bit better now. We're going to come in, go ahead and mark out our 50% line, and then we're just going to work our way down to that. We'll see how the roots look like above it. I'm thinking they're probably going to be decent just because of the way that Nabari actually looks. It should be all nice and spread out. So we're going to come in with our rough chopstick to start moving soil. Then I got a little bit of a smaller chopstick that I will go in and finish off with. These will probably stay in these pots. Well, the top down will stay in this pot for probably 2 years. The one-sided repot, I'm going to have to come in next year and get the other half out. So it will actually have a little bit more trauma to the system. It may take a little bit longer to recover, or it may, because it's going to have 2 different recovery periods, it may not be as quick of a recovery for it. Or it should recover as quickly as this one does, but it'll be 2 different recovery sessions over the course of 2 years. Whereas this one, because it is just a top down, it's only going to go through this trauma once. So it should be all right. And then the one that I'm just going to do a standard repot on, I may wait 2 years because it is a 6-year competition. I could wait 2 years on all of them, but I kind of want to get them into good bonsai substrate as quickly as possible so that we get a good root mass to go into it to their pots at the end of those terms. Today is the 6th of March. Just so I remember for my so I switched over to my smaller chopstick just a little bit ago, just to come in here and get in between some of these finer roots and get the top half of this soil ball out. And we're trying to get all the way back to the center of this root mass, just to make sure that we get all that topsoil out. And when we come back in a couple of years, it'll all be bonsai substrate, and we should have a nice root mass. I mean, this root mass is already really nice. It's already a lot of really fine feeder roots. I'm not really finding anything strong that's not like a surface root. Just being as gentle as we can. Try and get most of this. And because we're not touching the bottom half of this root mass, the recovery period for it should be very quick. I mean, I should see a flush of growth really within the next month or so, presumably. I'm just getting it to the point where I can put my chopstick all the way through the bottom of the root mass and between the 2 layers. And there we go. So we've got this really nice root mass up at the top. The bottom's probably just as nice, but we haven't touched it. And there we have it. So this, we just put straight back down into the pot. What kind of angle do we want? Another good thing about this is because it's so loose up here, we can go ahead and work on our planting angle. We're fairly straight coming here up out of the soil. But yeah, so now what I've got is I've got my regular 111 bonsai substrate that I've pulled all of the particles that are above 3/8 of an inch. So we have that. We're going to take our chopstick and just chopstick down into this root mass, especially making sure that we get all the way around the outside. We'll switch over to our smaller chopstick, make sure that we're getting down into the center of this root ball. Otherwise, that center it'll have a bunch of air pockets, and we'll have root dieback in the middle, which is the exact opposite. Well, we don't want any root dieback anywhere. Well, that's definitely not what we want, is root dying back in the middle. And as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure to hold that trunk at the angle that I want it at. We're slightly off of straight. We're coming up this way. I may, on this one, as it comes up, the thicker part is actually right here. So that may be our whole tree. But I'll get a good bit of movement into this one. We're going to do all of our repots, and then we're going to come back and wire them all just to get that first initial movement in. Just structural wiring right now. Make sure you do really well of coming in here and moving soil until you can't move anymore in the middle. Can't move anymore with the big one, so we switch over to the small one until we can't move anymore with it, and we'll call it a day. Well, not a day. We'll call it done for this tree. Excuse me. Make up a little top dressing. And I did for this top dressing, because it's not super important that it mosses up. I just need to be able to hold the soil together. It's mostly sphagnum moss, probably 90–95% of sphagnum moss, and then another 5 to 10% of green moss. Make up a big batch of it. That way I don't have to keep doing it every time I repot. We'll just come in, sprinkle it around the top, and then with our bonsai soil, we'll come in a little bit over the top. Press it down, and then we'll go water this in. And so there we go. So we've got 2 that are top downs. So we'll see what we can't do about that. I'm going to start off by drawing a line straight down the side. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do all of this side and none of the other side, just to kind of see if one is better than the other as far as recovery or growth goes. But I mean, because I'm not taking really any roots off, there will be more roots taken off of this one than the other one. Just because anything that's hanging down kind of low, we're going to want to trim to fit in the pot. Switching over to my smaller chopstick, not my smaller schmop stick. Well, the one side is a lot easier to do, I can say that. Took way less time. Got 95% of the soil out of this side. These all came from Weigert's, except for the two Toyogawas. Those came from Plant City Bonsai in Georgia. All right, so for this one, we will need a drainage screen at the bottom. We put an aeration layer down at the bottom of this one just because the bottom is going to have bonsai substrate, and the holes are bigger than the soil. So we just twist down into that a little bit. And then we come in with our bonsai soil. This side, it's the same bonsai soil I use for the top down. So it's 111 pumice akadama lava rock with all of the 3/8 of an inch and bigger sifted out. This one should be easy to tell apart from the other two. I'm gonna have to mark them all anyway, though. A lot easier to chopstick in too. So for ease of application, the 50/50 repot is definitely easier to do. But we'll see. Just because it's easier doesn't mean it's the better way to do it. I mean, unless you're doing 1,000 of these in a season, I couldn't imagine taking the extra 15 to 20 minutes to do a top down, if it in fact turns out to be better. Who knows? It may all surprise us, and the standard repot may be the way to go. We will find out. But I would think that that would have a lot more. It would make a lot more stress on the tree, just because you are cutting. I'll go water this in real quick. And so this one we're going to do a standard repot on. Scrape the top all the way down to roots once we can see the nabari. And then we come down the sides, tease this all out. And that's about as far as I want to take that one. So we'll come in with our scissors, trim up any damaged roots, any overly vigorous roots, any dead roots. So this one we actually took a bunch of roots off of. It will probably not recover as quickly as the other two, because basically cut 0 roots off of them. I know I didn't cut any roots off of the first one. I cut like just the tips on the other one. So there we go. This one will also need a screen, but this one we're also going to have to tie in, because there is none of the old soil left. It's not going to be able to hold position without actually being tied in. So screen goes in. So aeration went in. Now our regular layer, little cone in the middle. Press down on top of the cone. Start the twist on our wires. All right, so I don't know how much of that got cut off. I'm running out of storage space on this camera, so I'm gonna have to get everything transferred over to the computer so I can do my editing. But like I said, so we've got 6 trees, 4 Shimpaku junipers, 2 Itoyagawa Shimpaku junipers, and we will see how they do. These 2 Itoyagawas were just standard repots back into the same pot that they were in. 2 of the no variety Shimpakus are top downs. One is a 50-50. Took one side of the root mass off, left the other one completely untouched. And then this 4th one is just a standard standard repot. And so what we'll be doing here next will be to go in and wire out structurally all of these, just to see what we can do about getting some movement in these, and we will go from there. So it's been about 2 weeks or so since I repotted these. Might be 3 weeks by now. I'll have to go back and look. But they all have responded really good to the repot. What I'm going to do real quick is just come in here. I'm going to clean out this Shimpaku and wire it. I wired all the other ones off screen. Well, I wired all the other Shimpakus off screen. I also have this Itoyagawa Shimpaku that needs to get wired. It's a little less dense, so I don't think I'm going to clean it out first. I'm just going to wire it. So I'm going to wire these 2. First, we're going to clean this one out. The other ones, the other 2 that I did not clean out. And it was annoying and time consuming, but I didn't really want to, I didn't want to wire them out, or I didn't want to clean them out. So what we're going to do, come in here, any 2s and 3s, or any 3s we're going to turn into 2s. We're going to clean up the first little inch or so of each main branch. And clean up anything lower down on the trunk. Now, even though the other ones are wired, I haven't actually placed any branches yet. I just wired them out. We're going to go in and do our branch placement, get some funky movement into some of them, so that in a year or so we can come in, wire out any secondaries, and then a year after that we're going to start looking at getting these into bonsai pots and getting them looking like bonsai, so that we can hopefully do pretty well with the BonsaiNut competition. It's a 6-year Shimpaku competition, so I've got Really, the first 2 years I'm going to spend mostly in getting them ready, and then the last 3 years we're going to try and refine them as much as possible. So we're supposed to start with pencil-sized whips, which these are pencil-sized whips I showed y'all last time, or at the beginning of the video. So if y'all are not actually signed up on BonsaiNut, there's a lot of really good people on there. A lot of people with a lot of knowledge and time doing bonsai, that if you have any questions or you want, there's some really cool design forums that you can go post pictures of your tree. You'll get fairly good responses from people. Some people will even take time to go in and take that picture that you put on and go into MS Paint or whatever other editing thing, and they'll kind of draw you out a design of what they think you should do for it. Really cool little forum. Of course, you can go in and help other people too. But yeah, all we're doing really, cleaning up the first like half inch or so of the branch. I'm not cleaning, or I'm not cutting off bottom growing branches yet, because you're going to see what we're going to do with these. The bottom branch may not be, or the bottom foliage might not be the bottom foliage anymore. The great thing about junipers is you can twist them and turn them and do a whole bunch of stuff with them. And so we'll wire these out first, and then once they are wired, we can go in and clean up any foliage that is growing in the wrong direction. Cleaning out any crotch growth. I'm also treating all the vertical trunks as if they were branches, because, well, they might turn into branches. I think this one probably will get brought down. Get some good movement into it. And I'm only really worried about these primate branches. Last year, late fall, I had them push long runners. Over the winter, they hardened off. Only have a little bit of growth out here on the tips, which is fine. We can snake that around, turn that into a little pad that we can place pretty much anywhere. But yeah, you can see doing the same thing over here. Now for their spring push. All right, and we're going to be wiring out in copper. So we're going to wire these two main trunks together, probably using a 10 gauge. That should be the only thing on this tree that actually needs 10. The rest of it should all use 12 or smaller. Yeah, that should all move with 12s. So these two down to a 12 gauge. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie this branch right here to this bottom branch right down here. Some of these we may just be shaping to turn into gins later. Not real sure. Like I said, I'm not really super excited or super set on any one design on any of these trees. They're all pretty juvenile whips. That's that part of the design. I'm just dropping it down to get that out of the way so I don't have to fight with that branch while I'm wearing this one. You gotta try not to trap foliage. Coming in slightly bigger. I believe this is an 8 gauge actually, because this main trunk that I have is not gonna bend on what I had on it. Alright, that's all the primary branches done on that one. Next thing we're going to look at is this little Itoyagawa. 12 should be big enough for that. Well, it's fairly stiff, but it dropping down to 14 gauge.
Wasn't paying attention, and now I have to cross over my wire. Sticking with 14 gauge, probably could drop down to 16. Alright, so that one's wired. So we've got them all wired now. I'll go ahead and do the two that you saw me wire. We're gonna just put some interesting movement, changing up our directions, making sure that nothing looks like uniform, I guess would be the easiest way to describe it. Like, I don't want a whole bunch of little corkscrews, although this one's going to probably wind up looking a little corkscrewy. So we come off the back, come up and over. Anywhere I have a major branch, I want to make sure that we are basically putting it on the outside of a bend. Any of these smaller branches doesn't really matter. They can be on the inside. They may or may not stick around for the whole thing. But I do want to give a chance for some of these larger major branches to be used. A lot of the stuff that we didn't wire, it's pretty young and soft. So even if when we come in and wire secondaries, we should be good to go ahead and bend those as well. And like I said before, some of these we may just be turning into gin eventually. And it might not look like a whole bunch right now, but we're getting some nice movement, which is all we really care about. And then up here at the apex, we just kind of brought it back over the top of the center, so we can figure something out with that. That's one. Got a whole lot of like, if you come back here and look at the back, maybe the front, maybe the side, don't know. We got some really nice movement. Comes up, back up, and then just cuts around, and then we wave over here. That's one down. This is the other one that I wired. This is the one that I cleaned and wired. It is top down number 2, so it was the second top down repot that I did for this for the BonsaiNut competition plants. So top down number 1 was this one, and then the standard repot is this one right here. We'll get to those in just a second. We're gonna do the same thing over here. Just all right, and like with the other one, we want to make sure that our major branches, like this guy right here, are on the outside of a curve. So if we have to, we can bring it back this way and then come over so that it is now on the outside of that curve. Bring that out. Just to kind of get us started on some good movement. We work our way up. This one looks like it kind of wants to be a little semi-cascade branch over here. And something like that. This is the other top down. And because these are super flexible right now, we can basically tie them in a knot. And they don't care. That one's kind of a little all over the place. And again, this is one of the ones that I did not clean. So none of the branches have been cleaned up. So they are all they should be able to thicken up a bit faster. Means I'm gonna have to keep an eye on these a little bit tighter than I do on this other one, but it's not the worst. Everything's got crazy movement in it. Are those upside down? So we got movement put into that. We'll see what it turns out to be. Probably pretty crazy. That one may just go into the we tried it pile, but next one is the one that we did a standard repot on. So I went in, took a bit of the roots out from everywhere. Got bonsai soil around the outside of the root ball instead of just the top, completely around the top. So there is still a little bit of field soil in the middle of this. This one wants to be maybe do this one as a windswept. I mean, most of the branches are coming off of this right side of it. So I think we could do something along those lines. So, if we're going to be doing that, everything wants to be moving out that way. Again, I didn't wire every single one of these branches. Some of them are fairly small, so they'll have a couple of years of flexibility where I can come in next year or even later in the summer when I actually do come in, and especially on these ones, on the ones that I top-down repotted, I should be able to come in and prune and do secondary wiring in the summer. So we will keep that in mind as we are working on the, as I'm paying attention to these for the rest of the year. is, especially the top downs, may be ready to prune and wire come mid to late August, once they go into summer dormancy. We want to make sure that we aren't shading out all the branches down below. So we want to kind of put everything into its own little patch of sunlight. No, everything's basically got its own little light. We'll see how it turns out. We might wind up tipping it over a little bit more. We'll see. And lastly, this little guy. So this is the other Itoigawa. I think we'll just go classic informal upright with it. And this over here is going to be our first directional branch. Something along those lines for now. We can obviously adjust this when we actually come in and prune. Anyway, something along there. So that is my repot and first styling on 5 of the BonsaiNut 6-year Shimpaku Challenge trees. If you want to go check out the BonsaiNut forum, I will have, I guess, 5 entries, or I might do it as 1 entry and just the 5 different trees. And then as the competition goes along, I will whittle it down to however many I wind up liking, basically. So I set this one aside because it was in the way while I was wiring the other ones. So this is the 50-50 repot that we did. So this half is in good bonsai soil. This half over here is still in the nursery soil. It has already been wired. This one may want to be a literati, because we have this slender trunk. So we want to I think that's where we're going to leave it. Nice subtle movements in all of the branches. So we got this nice little outward sweep over here. And if we do actually turn this one into a literati, then it's going to take a lot of pruning. But we should be okay. Alright, so now that I've actually done them all, if you liked what you saw today, go ahead, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff down below. If you didn't like what you saw, or you have a comment on what you think I should do to each of the trees, so 50-50. I got the 2 top downs, the standard repot Shimpaku junipers, and then the 2 Toyogawa Shimpaku junipers. Go ahead, leave a comment down below. If you've got a suggestion on one of the trees, just write top down 1 or TD 1. I'll know what you mean. And then Shimpaku 1, Shimpaku 2. I need to label those so that I remember which one is which. But until the next time I see y'all out at bench in the backyard, just remember to grow them big, but keep them small.